Okay, so we all know the sales proration. The sale is it's a debit buyer credit seller. The buyer owes the purchase price, the seller receives it. Items that are prorated are going to be property tax, rent, HOA, and the interest on assumed mortgages, but that's really not applicable. Remember, sales price, debit buyer, credit seller. Earnest money deposit, credit buyer. Assumed mortgage, debit seller, credit buyer. Assumed mortgage and sale price is different, so don't forget. Don't just say debit seller, credit buyer. In a lot of cases, yeah, that is it. But when you're calculating taxes that are in arrears. But when you're talking about other topics, this is what things that you have to pay attention to. You have to pay attention to what they are asking. When you read a question, If you don't understand the question right away, you either do two things. Reread it again very slowly. Reread it again very thirdly slowly. Or you skip it. Seller's mortgage payoff. You're going to debit seller only. Buyer's new mortgage proceeds. You're going to credit buyer only. Binder deposit, like I was saying before, they give you $1,000 today, $1,000 on Monday, and $1,000 on Friday. That's their binder deposit. That is their credit towards their purchase, and you can calculate them all. If it asks you how much is due with the offer, then yes, that's $1,000, because the initial offer was $1,000. They just added an additional an additional deposit. So that's fine. That's kind of typical. See what's going on. You do your inspection or whatnot. You might add some more money down, whatever. Something that. A purchase contract is contingent upon the buyer obtaining finance. The buyer applies in good faith but doesn't get financing from the bank. What should happen to the earnest money? Well, you should return it. You should return the deposit to the buyer, because they give you a stipulation. They give you enough time in order to get financing. So that doesn't mean you give their deposit to the seller. They have a specific amount of time, a window, to apply for their mortgage, and you have to honor that. So it's return the deposit as long as the equity in that deposit is not off balance. They took the amount of days that they should. They just didn't get finance. A broker knowingly publishes false or misleading advertising. This is what is this? This is first degree. First degree misdemeanor. No license. Third degree felony. Hopefully you know some judges. Anyway. An option contract gives the buyer, which is the option E, the right, but not the obligation to buy a property at a specified price within a specified time. An option contract is pretty much, let's say a seller said, "Hey, can you come wipe my windows? Can you come mow my grass? I will give you $500." Maybe I want to, maybe I don't. But I don't have to perform. But if I do perform, he has to perform. So the seller, who is the optionor, must keep the offer open during the option period. Now, with option contracts, let's say a person is going to buy a townhouse, and he says, well, I'll sell my house first. And so they may make an option contract, but he does it without consideration. If you do it without consideration, you don't put down something and bind something up. You don't put down some money or something. Somebody could sell it to the next Joe. Somebody could say, hey, Giuseppe, you want it? And literally that can happen because it's not in writing and just some performance issues. So just, it's just literature. All types of things happen in a run of a day. All kind of things. So you just want to make sure you're protected, and you want to do the right things. You don't want to try to scam somebody out of there. But also you have to protect yourself too. So he told him without any consideration. And pretty much that's what those terms mean. You didn't put down any money. You just gave an option. He said he would sell it to you, but he said without consideration. So if the neighbor comes by, or if somebody on their bicycle comes by and they say, well, I'll hook you up. I will purchase this at this price that you are desiring. Of course he's gonna go with it. Unless you're his nephew or something. Well, I take that back. Maybe not. He might tell his nephew to sit down. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay, so like we were saying, unilateral contract requires uni is one. So somebody have to perform if the buyer has an option to, and if he wants to perform, then yes, the seller has to perform. So, but it requires consideration. Something of value, often money, must be in writing to be enforceable because it involves real estate. The seller is bound if the buyer exercises the option. The buyer is not required to buy. So he wasn't required to put down consideration. It would just have helped him. It would just have helped him if he did. Why is this unilateral? Only one party is obligated. Seller must sell if the buyer exercises the option. Buyer can choose to buy or walk away. That's why it's called unilateral. Okay, question. An option contract is best described as what? Is it bilateral? No. Well, it is, but it's not in writing, so skip that. Because bilateral can mean like me and you, we agreed to the purchase of this. I agreed to purchase yours, and you agreed to purchase mine. We agreed with that over the phone. That is bilateral.
Look into that stuff.
So is it void? Is it agency agreement? No, it's unilateral because only the seller is obligated if the option is exercised. Okay. The consideration paid for an option contract is usually credited towards the purchase price if the option is exercised, depending on the agreement. A seller telephones a buyer and agrees to sell the buyer a house. I'll read again. A seller telephones a buyer and agrees to sell the buyer a house. The agreement is parole. Parole agreement that is generally unenforceable under the statute of fraud. Ouch. These chairs crazy. Ow. Okay. A parole contract is a parole contract. Parole is what kind of message is that? Okay. Sorry, reading text messages. It's oral. Okay. Parole is spelled P-A-R-O-L. Oral is still in the same as parole. So just take O-R-A-L. It's in the word. So don't miss that. Okay. If they ask what kind of agreement it is, it's parole. A buyer and seller orally agree to the sale of the house. Is the agreement enforceable? No. Statutes of fraud say it must be in writing. A buyer and seller orally agree to the sale of a house. This is bilateral. The agreement is bilateral. So what did I say earlier? Yeah, it is bilateral. But because it's see, everything's situational. A buyer and seller orally agree to the sale of a house. The agreement is bilateral. That's a bilateral agreement. We both agree. We both promise. We both are saying, I'm going to buy the house. You're going to buy the house. I'm going to sell the house. You're going to sell the house. We agree to do. We're making promises to each other. It's bilateral. If we're making options to each other, then it's options. A seller calls a buyer and says, I'll sell you my house for $500,000. The buyer accepts over the phone what type of agreement it is. I'm waiting. Who said parole? You're going to make an A. A seller owns 100 acres in what county we want to pick? I don't know. You pick a county. Orange County. No, Hillsborough County. By Hillsborough. A seller owns 100 acres in Hillsborough County. The customary commission in the area is 10%, which is true. But what do you know about commission? Is commission set? Yeah, everybody goes around 6%, 3%, 2%, depending on the house. The house typically is very negotiable. So it's not set. It's very negotiable. So it says the broker may charge less than 10%, more than 10%, or no commission at all if agreed upon the parties. And that's what it is. It's what you come up with, what you decide to give to your clients, to your customers, to your principal, to your customers and stuff. Commissions are always negotiable. There's no standard commission in Florida. FREC does not set commission rates. Local customs do not require a broker to charge a particular percentage. A seller obtains a judgment and wants to recover from the Florida Real Estate Recovery Fund. Which person must be named in the judgment? Who do you need to name? You need to name the broker or sales associate who committed the violation. Property taxes are shown on which page? I'll wait. Page 2 or page 3? Property taxes. Property taxes. Not deed, not intangible, not new note. Property taxes. What page is it? 2 or 3? 2 or 3? 2 or 3? Tell me. Whoever said 3, amazing. How are they said? How are they prorated? Debit, credit, adjustment between the buyer. Seller owes taxes through the day of closing, so it's debit, seller, credit, buyer, typically in Florida. When taxes are unpaid, you pay in November. HOA dues are prorated between buyer and seller. Which page do they appear on? HOA. Who said 3? You're like a Power Ranger or something like that. Seller prepaid HOA dues beyond closing. Credit, seller, debit, buyer. Seller owes HOA dues through closing. Debit, seller, credit, buyer. Let me read again. Seller prepaid HOA dues beyond closing. Credit, seller, debit, buyer. Seller owes HOA dues through closing. Debit, seller, credit, buyer. Okay, let's do some assessment homestead. Okay, so for a school you get $25,000 off. For a city and county is $50 off. Okay, so the market value, the assessed value is I believe it's a taxable, what you can tax. So they want to go by the assessed value or taxable value. But pretty much when they ask you to calculate the mills, so the school mills, city mills, county mills, all that stuff, they're going to give you the market value, they're going to give you the assessed value, and then they're going to give you the homestead exemption. So let's see if we can do one. All right, so okay, market value is $320,000. The assessed value is $300,000. The homestead exemption is $50,000. Now, if it's given to you, that is like amazing. But if it's not, then you have to know that the school is $25,000 and that the city and county is $50,000. So county mills is 5 mills. City mills is 4 mills. They didn't give me school on this one. So it says, what is the annual tax? Well, you're gonna take the $300,000 because why? It's the assessed value. You're gonna minus $50,000. You get $250,000. Then you're gonna add up the mills. What was the mills? I said county was 5, city was 4, so that's 9. So you're gonna take the $250,000 and you're gonna just take $250 because you're gonna divide by 1,000. This is calculating the tax bill, how much taxes you owe. You're gonna take the $250,000 and you're gonna divide by 1,000, but you don't even need to do that. All you need to do is say if it's $250,000, you're gonna say it's 250 times the mills, which was the county was 5, the city was 4, so that's 9. 250 times 9 is 2,250. Doesn't that sound like taxes? That's taxes. So that's how I calculate that. Let's do another one. Assessed value is $200,000. City tax is 5. County is 7. What do you do first? Just add up the mills first. City is 5. County is 7. So that's 12. So you got that. Now take from the assessed value, just take 200. Because you take 200,000 divided by 1,000, you're going to get, what? 200. Then you're going to times it by the mills, which is $2,400 in taxes. Now be wise about the question, because it could say city and county, it could say school, it could say all 3 of them. Calculate all 3 of them. Just answer what they ask. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't go into it saying, oh, I know that one, I know that one, I know that one. Of course you know it. But did you read the question? Read the question. Read the question. Read if it says, what kind of agreement is it? What kind of contract is this? There's two different types, two different things. It's the same thing, it's two different things. Just want you to make an A. Another one. Okay. Assessed value. Okay, now here's one with 3. Assessed value is $175,000. You already know in your head it's 175. We already divided by 1,000. We're not gonna even waste time calculating that on the calculator. Forget about it. Okay, county is 6, cities 4, school is 5. What do you get? 15. Boom. I sound like Denzel. Okay. So you're going to do 175 times 15. You will get 2625. Don't forget to read the question. You'll see. You'll see when you get in there, and you'll be like, there's something off. Like, I know that this is this. And then you'll go back and you'll be like, oh, they only asked me for city. Okay. Mills are always based on taxable value or assessed value if no taxable value is given. Not the market value. Not the market value. Not that comparable, you know how they compare to see like on like old listings and stuff like that to see what kind of price that they want to price for this one. And you never can do, on a pending sale, you never can do a comparable comparable analysis. Not on a pending, not on one that's pending. Let's do one of those questions. So if you have comparable, if you have a CIB, which is comparable, if the comparable is better, so you're always appraising the subject property. So if you write C over here and S over here, and you have the comparable, and they say, all right, 300,000, and it says the comparable has a bigger porch than the subject, you're going to subtract the porch amount. If the porch amount is 10,000, you're going to subtract 10,000 from the comparable. So you have C, you have B. The porch is bigger. The porch is valued at $10,000. So you're going to take the $200,000 and you're going to subtract the porch, which is 10,000. Then the subject will be 190,000. It may ask you to do 3 of them. You may subtract the porch, add a bathroom, because the comparable has a bathroom, one bathroom less than the subject, so you have to add it. This is all adding is on the comparable. So the comparable has a bigger porch, subtract 10,000. It has one less bathroom. You're going to add 5,000. Let's say a bathroom is 5,000. And it has a pool. The comparable has a pool, which means we need to subtract because the subject doesn't have a pool. And then you add, subtract, add. Subtract, add, subtract. I think that's how I kind of phrased it. And then you get your subject's answer. Your subject's, I don't know, comparable number that you want to come up with. Remember, the subject property is being appraised. The subject property is the house the appraiser is trying to value. The comparable is a recently sold property used to estimate the value of the subject property. You always adjust the comparable so it is more like the subject. Sorry I'm being so redundant, but it's necessary because some of this stuff that hasn't stuck yet, it needs to become like glue, so you can know it. So sorry if I'm being like really redundant. So let's say it doesn't ask you to calculate something. Let's just say it asks you like a logic question, which is the property being appraised. Which one is being appraised? The comparable or the subject? 1, 2, 3, 4. Dun, dun, dun. I'm not Jeopardy. It's the subject. The house the appraiser is trying to value. Okay? BPOs, broker price opinions, do not sales associates. I know this is a broker exam review, whatever you want to call it. Do not take a check from the bank. Your broker has to pay you. Your broker has to pay you. Your broker has to pay you. I've been guilty, but I corrected it, so whatever. Not of this, something else. A bank orders a broker price opinion from a brokerage who may receive the check from the bank. The employee broker. Sales associates can perform a BPO. Yes. Sales associates cannot be paid directly by the bank. No. The broker receives the payment and pays the sales associate. Yes. So let me ask you a question. How many people can be members on an LLC? 100? No. It's one or more members. A limited liability company is one or more members. Sole proprietorship, that's one owner. General partnership is 2. General partnership. Brokers. General partnerships. So with a general partnership, I think you need one broker. But if those other if the other officers, directors, whoever they are, if they want to perform services to the public, you need a broker's license. You need a broker's license for that. With an exclusive right of sale, the broker earns a commission if the property is sold during the listing period, regardless of who finds the buyer. See, the definition that like open listing, single agency, net listing, what else? Transaction broker. With the exclusive right of sale, if the seller finds a buyer, you still get paid. That's the agreement. You still get paid. With a single agency, if he finds a buyer, you don't get paid. With an open listing, whichever broker finds is the procuring cause of that sale, he gets paid. So you want to get paid. You either want to get paid or you want to help. But most people want to help and to get paid. It's nice to be generous though. Really nice. Exclusive agency. Broker gets paid unless the seller finds the buyer. If the seller sells the property without a buyer's help, the broker does not earn a commission. Open listing. Only the broker who is procuring cause of the sale earns a commission. If the seller finds the buyer, no broker gets paid for an open listing. Net listing. Legal in Florida but discouraged because of the conflict of interest. The broker keeps everything above the seller's direct net amount. Which listing guarantees the broker a commission whether the broker, another broker, or the owner finds the buyer? Exclusive right. Exclusive right of sale. Exclusive right of sale. Exclusive right of sale. Exclusive right of sale. We went over this a lot, so this credit buyer stuff, credit to the buyer only stuff. New mortgage, earnest money, and if the seller's credit to the buyer for closing costs, but that really doesn't come up too often. We went over that. Okay, a broker manages a rental property and holds the tenant's security deposit in escrow. Gather the deposit in escrow. Okay, the tenant moves out. No claim will be made against the deposit. When does the deposit have to be returned? 15 days. If the broker intends to make a claim on behalf of the landlord, then written notice within 30 days. Gotta let them know that stain on the wall that wasn't there when they moved in, or their pet ran through the wall, or anything. Let's see, this one might be a good one. Alright, this is a good one. Okay. Scenario: a sales associate procures the buyer. The contract is signed. The sales associate leaves the brokers before they close. The broker completes the transaction for him. After closing, the former associate asks for his commission. Yes, the former sales associate may, not is, but he may be entitled to his commission if it was earned under the employment agreement with the broker. A sales associate procures a buyer and contract is executed. Sorry, I'm being redundant again. Before closing, the sales associate leaves the brokers. The broker completes the transaction. After closing, former sales associate requests a commission. What's the best answer? The best answer is the broker may pay the former sales associate according to the terms of their agreement because the commission belongs to the broker. Yeah. And all of his the listings belong to the broker because you're working for him. Leaving the brokerage doesn't automatically mean you forfeit your earned commission, because I mean you did bring the meeting of the minds and all that. You brought them together, so a contract was signed and a deal was made, and so I mean, in terms of whatever case that he had to leave, doesn't mean that you don't pay him. Like, should pay him. I mean, even if it was on bad terms, you still should pay him. Like, money is money. Money is what people use to right now extra survive because it's hard out here. But you don't let conflicting things. Listen, if God didn't forgive us, we all would be messed up right now. Something. So you have to forgive in life, and you have to put your own things aside and things happen. So you just have to be aware of that, and you have to try to remain in a good standing type of mindset. Okay, here's another one. Here's another good one. A broker's license expires while the broker is handling a pending transaction. A pending transaction. His license expired. The broker intends to renew the license next week. May the broker continue negotiating or performing brokerage services until the renewal is complete? No, get your renewal so you don't get messed up. Should have brought my fan. Okay. Nope. The broker may not perform licensed real estate services while the license is expired. Come on. Just okay. We'll do another video after this question. Okay. The increase in value of a property over time is known as capital gain. Capital gain is when realized upon sale, when you sell it. When you sell it, I think married couples are, what is it, $750 or is it $5? I think it's $5. Married couples, if you're married, beneficial to be married. Cool. You have capital gains up to $500,000. If you're single, it's $250,000, so it's $250,000. And let me wrap this up. We'll do some more. It's really hot out here. I might go into Starbucks and get a coffee, and I know that is definitely oxymoron, but no, I'm not gonna get a coffee. I'm gonna get a club soda. So we will continue. There's only, let me see, there's only like 6 more pages, but hopefully this is good information. I mean, at least you're like learning how to test the questions. Okay, let's just do this page. Let's do this page, and then we'll have five more to go. Okay, appreciation on a home, and it is an example of capital gain. Woo. Okay, appreciation is the property increases in value over time. When you sell it for more than your basis, subject to tax rules, that increase is generally a capital gain. What is the first step in an appraisal process? Well, it's define the problem. We gotta find out what the problem is first, and that's what you pick. Define the problem. Problem define, however they phrase it. Define the problem. What is the basic principle of a sales comparison approach? It's the principle of substitution. I can find this house next door, it's just as good. I'll substitute this house for that house. I can't get this house, get that house. Now, if it says something about homogeneity, sorry, I'm not good with the word. Homogeneity or something of the same, it's like principle of confirmation or conforming. So you're conforming to it. We'll probably run into it. An FHA borrower is required to pay upfront mortgage insurance premium. Upfront mortgage insurance premium. Yeah. An FHA. Because an FHA is, the FHA is, I'm so sorry, it's so hot, I can't think. Or maybe I just can't think. They have the VA, which is what, guaranteed? And the FHA is backed up by the government. So, with the FHA, the PMI is for conventional loans. The private mortgage and the private mortgage insurance. That is for conventionals. And the upfront mortgage insurance is for FHA. Who pays title insurance? Seller. Who pays mortgage lenders and title insurance? Buyer. Usually the borrower. And where's my pen? Let's stop here. We'll continue. We don't have that much left. And then we'll go over some more questions. Questions. See you soon.